Now then,
この度のゲームはどう転ぶのか。
how will the game be resolved this time?
委ねるもよし、
You may
抗
submit,
うも
you
よし。
may
い
resist.
ずれにせ
Either
よ、わし
way,
に残されたわ
It
ずか
will
の
be
命をトス
truly
に
an
値する
entertaining
実
banquet
に
worth
楽しい
betting my
歌
short
で
remaining life on. In his dimly lit study, which was occasionally brightened up by lightning, Kinzo kept mumbling to himself, laughing to himself. On the antique clock with an intricate design that was sitting on his desk, the two overlapping hands had begun to tilt to the right and separate from one another. The passage of time that had counted to 24 had returned to 0 and begun to start counting again.
時の刻みと
The
は残
passage
酷
of
なものよ。
time is a brutal thing.
24
It
を
drags
数えるた
itself
め
all
に
the
1
way
日
to
をかけてたどり
24
着
over
き、
the course of
そ
a
して
day,
再びゼロに
and
戻
then
る。
returns back to 0.
23時
He surely
59分まで
managed to
は
count
確かに
to
数えた。
23 and 59.
しかし、
However,
24時にたど
will
り
it
着くことは
ever
で
be
きた
able
のだ
to
ろう
reach
か。
24?
たどり着けず、
If you
再び
believe that he
0時に
returns
戻
to
ったと
0
考え
again
れば、
without
そ
reaching
れ
it,
はなんとも
how
虚しいことよ。
futile it seems. No, is that not the same as a person's life? You live aiming for a perfect 24, and in the instant you reach it, you return to 0. Many may praise the departed, saying that they did reach 24, but that is absolutely not 24. It is nothing more than 0.
わしは違うぞ。
I am different.
わしは生きて24
I
に
will
たどり
reach
着く。
24 alive,
そここそが黄
because
金
that
鏡。
itself is the golden land.
ベアトリーチェの住処なの
That
だから。
is Beatrice's dwelling. Kinzo had been fumbling around with some tarot cards for some time. It looked as though he was trying to divine his own luck, his own propensity for victory, and doing it over every time he didn't like the result. The most forbidden action in tarot reading is to try predicting the same thing twice. It is a desecration to the result of the fortune telling, and also desecrates the existence higher than humans which deliver signs through the tarot cards. However, Kinzo knew the reason the tarot card shouldn't be used twice was that, since it was nothing more than a random number generator, it was natural that if you read them twice, a different result would appear. Therefore, reading twice was only forbidden to preserve the mystique of the tarot card's results. However, that didn't mean that Kinzo didn't take tarot card reading seriously. Kinzo's interpretation of tarot reading was done in a completely different way. That was to repeat the reading over and over until he reached the result most favorable to him, without the slightest amount of compromise. It would depend on how he defined the result most favorable to him, but if he demanded the best result in a strict sense, it would be the same as a simple roulette of luck, where he sought an arithmetic miracle. However, to Kinzo, who made miracles and numbers the basis of his magical power, this could become very much like a magic ritual. In other words, until the result he desired appeared perfectly, he would repeat the tarot reading over and over, turning his labor, conviction, and the feelings of his heart into a prayer, and so that when he reached heaven, the result would be sublimated. This was Kinzo's personal magic interpretation. Therefore, even though the tarot cards Kinzo used were exactly the same as generally used tarot cards, the way they were used was completely different.
今宵は思い通りにならぬな。
Tonight it refuses to go my way. Kinzo stopped his hands for a second. It seems the result he expected wasn't showing up. On the contrary, many bad cards that shouldn't often appear were appearing repeatedly and continuing to interfere with the miracle Kinzo wished for.
そういうことなのか。
Is that how it is? It seems that Kinzo had taken some kind of sign from the abnormal course of events. Judging by the unlucky cards scattered over the desk, it was difficult to imagine that the sign had been a good one. For a while, Kinzo closed his eyes tightly, pondering something. And then, as the thunder roared, he made up his mind about something, took the telephone receiver and dialed. It is I. Is Genji there? It is urgent. In front of the main entrance, Shannon was cooling her flustered face in the frigid air. She had thought that George's proposal would surely come sometime. It wasn't as if her heart hadn't been unprepared, and she had nodded as an answer. Had she been reckless because of her youth? Should she have thought about her future more seriously? She found herself worrying that he might have thought of her as a cheap girl because of her immediate reply. Perhaps at least holding off until tomorrow morning would have given the impression of thinking more seriously. Now that she had already received the ring from George, Shannon kept fidgeting in embarrassment, thinking she should have done this, she should have done that. As she did, she heard the sound of footsteps coming towards her, splashing through puddles. Shannon immediately chased away the emotions welling up inside her. Genji-sama? Kanon-kun too? I'm sorry for not coming back right away. She grew stiff, thinking that she would surely be scolded for spending too much time in her secret lover's meetings with George. Shannon, the master had told us to come to the study, urgently. Let us hurry. Yes, certainly. What in the world? He said he had an ominous premonition. How selfish, when he was the one who chose to start this ritual. We will enter from the back, so that Goda doesn't notice us. Hide your footsteps. Yes. Nesan, take care. So noisy. Kanon was especially good at hiding his presence. Like he was a cat, he was able to suddenly be there without anyone noticing and leave in the same way. So even if he were to step in a puddle, the sound he would make would be far smaller than the rain hitting the puddles. Genji also had that ability. Well, in the first place, that was how the servants were supposed to be, even going by the name of furniture. Just like how desks and closets go unnoticed by members of the family, the servants also treated being able to show up unobtrusively when they needed to as their greatest virtue. In that sense, Shannon's footsteps still strongly asserted themselves. She was also trying to hide her footsteps, but compared to Kanon and Genji, well, you could say that she was a little more lively. Eventually they reached the back door, and the three of them entered the mansion. Immediately they thought they felt something. It wasn't quite a sense of smell, rather they felt it from the depths of their noses, and this hard to describe sensation, which you might call a sixth sense, allowed them to perceive that something was different than usual. Genji-sama? Yes. We must hurry. That perception caused them to feel that something tense was closing in on them. Realizing that, the three of them dashed up the stairs, aiming for Kinzo's study, still hiding their footsteps. When they dashed up the stairs, that smell of sweet poison, particular to Kinzo's study, reached their noses. What is it, Genji-sama? Barrier is dead. After hearing Kanon, she looked at the door to the study. A scorpion pattern was engraved on the doorknob, a powerful magic repellent. The final barrier which protected Kinzo himself. It had been broken. Of course, there was no chain to the doorknob that the eye could see. However, they who could understand things that people couldn't perceive were able to recognize the dramatic change.
親方様
My
親
lord,
方様
my
源
lord,
氏でございます
it is
こ
Genji.
こをお開けください
Please open this door. Genji called in this way after knocking several times, but there was no answer from the study.
シャノン背中を守れ
Shannon, protect our backs. Canon,
室内を
search
探れ
inside the room.
はい
Yes. Canon put his ear against the door, searching for a presence inside the study. To protect the backs of the other two who were watching the door, Shannon faced the other way with her back to them, prepared for the unexpected.
親方様は
The
いらっ
master
しゃられる
is
はず
here,
で
I
す
believe.
ですが
However, it's too
静かすぎます。
quiet.
ご無事だということ
Then,
か
is he safe?
いえ
No.
静かがす
It
ぎま
is
す
too quiet.
まさか
It couldn't be.
親方様
My lord,
扉を失礼させてい
excuse
ただ
us
きま
about
す
the door. Genji pulled a gold key out of his pocket. It was the only key to the study that existed other than the one Kinzo held. He stuck it in the keyhole and turned it heavily. At a glance, that would have indicated that it really was a strong lock. However, the fact that the barrier had been destroyed meant that this door had long been wide open for anyone with magical power. The lock made a heavy sound, indicating that the door had been opened to humans as well.
失礼いたします
Excuse me. As Genji respectfully bowed his head and Kanon's sense of tension grew tighter and Shannon acted nervous, they entered the study. They immediately discovered Kinzo's figure. He was sitting in a reception sofa so that his back faced them. Genji noticed the person sitting across from them and again bowed deeply. Kanon also noticed that person, and he didn't bow his head. He went in front of Shannon and spread both arms, blocking the way to her. So without even seeing that person's face, Shannon already had a good idea who he was.
お越しでございましたか
Oh, you have come,
ベアトリーチェ様
Beatrice-sama.
源氏か
Genji, is it?
なかなかに
You
早い
came very quickly.
やはり家具は
Yes, it is better when furniture answers its master's call quickly.
こやつとは大
Very
違い
different from this person.
ロノエ様も
So,
お越しでした
Ronove-sama has come as well. Genji directed his greeting towards the thin darkness behind and to the right of Beatrice, where nothing appeared to be. Even Kanon and Shannon couldn't have imagined that someone would be there. However, the darkness answered immediately and praised Genji's eyesight.
相変わらず
As always, you do not disappoint.
だいぶの久しぶり
It
に
is
なります、
it has been quite some
それ
time.
にしても老けました
To
ね
me, you have gotten old, haven't you?
それだけの弱いを
Have you
重ねました
really reached that age?
充実した日々を
I
過
have
ごした
lived a full life.
ロノエ様におか
It
れま
appears
して
that your life has grown to be even more full, Ronove-sama.
え
Yes,
おかげさまです
thank you.
そしてシャノン
And
も久し
Shannon,
ぶり
it
で
has
すね
been a long time since I last saw you as well.
君は随分と
You have
美しくなっ
grown
た
quite beautiful,
そして
and it seems
随分
that you
と
have
強く
grown
なったよう
quite
ですね
strong.
良いことで
It
す
is good to see.
ありがとうございます
Thank you very much.
姉さん
Listen,
あいつは一体
カノン君と
this will be the
は
first
会う
time
のは
I have
初め
met
てにな
you,
りますね
Kanon-kun.
私は
I have been
Beatrice
entrusted with the
様の
position of
管理者を
Beatrice
任されており
Sama's head
ます
furniture.
ロノウェと申
My
します
name is Ronove.
源氏さんの
I
古い
am
馴
an
染み
old
です
friend of Genji-san's.
あなたと同
I'm
じ
also furniture, just
私も
like
カノン
you.
です使える主は
Although the master I serve is different. The color of tension didn't disappear from Kanon's expression in the slightest. Serving under a different master, furniture could be kind, brutal, or anything else as desired. If he called himself furniture serving the hated Beatrice, then surely he was a despicable being as well.
わらわもすっか
It
り嫌われ
seems
た
that
も
I'm
のだ
not. It seems that I'm completely despised.
坊主憎け
It
れ
is
ば
as
今朝
though
まで
you
なん
hate
とか
everything to do with me. Beatrice openly sneered at Canon's hate-filled face. Then Canon finally observed. Beatrice and Kinzo were enjoying a chess game, sitting in face repetition sofas. Reception. But Kinzo hadn't even quivered. He was holding his head with both hands, his eyes closed tight as contemplating his next move. No, was he in anguish?
親方様
My lord,
わらわが金蔵に
I
伝え
have
たの
told
は
Kinzo
二つ
two things.
良い知らせ
There
と悪い
was
知らせ
good news and bad news.
良い知らせ
The
は
good news was that he would have the fortune of being reunited with me before the ritual even ends.
悪い知らせは
The bad news was that Kinzo had been selected for the very first sacrifice of the ceremony.
こればかりは
There's
わらわにも
absolutely nothing I can do about it,
実に気ま
because
ぐれ
it
に
truly
ルーレッ
was
トにて
decided
決め
by
た
the
のだから
fickle roulette.
嘘つけ
Liar.
もて遊んで
You
殺
just
してい
take
るくせに
pleasure in killing people.
よしてカノン君
Stop it, Canon-kun.
さて金
So,
蔵そろ
Kinzo,
そろ負けを認
isn't
め
it
る気
about
になった
time you decided to accept your loss?
これ
By this, our long-lasting contest is resolved, right?
決着だな
At a glance, you couldn't tell the current situation on the chaotic chessboard. However, judging from Kinzo's anguish and Beatrice's malicious relaxedness, it looked as though it was already
是
decided.
非もなし
It is unavoidable.
これもまた一興か
Is this also entertainment?
わらわも
It is to me too.
だそなたとの勝負に決着
Concluding
が
my
つくこと
contest with you may bring a flood of emotions, but it has already surpassed love and hate.
楽しかったぜ
It was fun.
退屈しない数十
Several
年であ
decades
った
that were not boring. Beatrice advanced her queen and made a final move. It was thus decided.
チェックメイト
Checkmate.
これがわらわからそなたへの
This is
ターン
my final tribute from me to you.
心置きなく
Without reserve,
眠れ
sleep. Kinzo suddenly stood up and laughed like an opera singer facing a full crowd and spreading his arms, as though he had succeeded in a century-long plan. That laugh spat crimson. Crimson flame poured out from inside him, spitting all even out of his mouth, ears and nose, and all at once his body was wrapped in hellfire. But Kinzo kept laughing. The more he laughed, the more the hellfire spewed from his entire body and began to char him. Those flames became a brilliant light, which dazzling shone on the various magic tools throughout the room and made the distorted shadows dance across the walls. Those shadows looked like the dead in hell, in ecstasy over Kinzo as he burned. And for one who had made a contract with a witch, and who had reached the end of that contract, it was an extremely fitting end. After laughing and howling in the roaring flames for some time, Kinzo flopped to the ground as though he was a puppet whose strings had been cut. Those incredible blazing flames disappeared as though they had burned up everything that there was to burn, and afterwards all that was left was a festering and burnt body that would make you want to avert your eyes. Horrible.
お前が言う
You should talk.
ふさわしい死
Even
に
though
方
you
だと思
think
って
that
い
was
る
a fitting way for him to die.
なぜお前が姿を
Why
現して
have
い
you
る
shown yourself?
僕たちに何か
Do you
用だ
have
とで
some
も言うのか
business with us?
よしてカノン君
Stop it,
ベアト
Canon-kun.
リーチェ様を
You
挑
must
発しては
not
ダメ
provoke Beatrice-sama.
すっかり怯えさせ
It
てしまいま
appears
した
that you have completely terrified them.
わらわは
It seems I just can't
カ
get
ノンとは
along
仲
with
良くなれ
Canon.
ぬようだそう嫌い
A
でもないとい
pity,
う
I
のに
must say.
ね
I quite like him myself. Beatrice smiled broadly, or perhaps wickedly. Canon violently averted his gaze, obviously disturbed. His reaction was different from what he had obviously intended, that he made the witch His reaction was so different from what he had obviously intended that he made the witch and her butler laugh. Canon, you stand in the presence of Beatrice-sama. Carefully consider your manner of speech. Oh, there is no problem, Genji. Let him say as he likes. I am gracious.
何が寛大だ
How are you gracious?
わらわは死に
I
ゆく
am
者に
always gracious
いつ
to
だって
those who are
寛
about
大
to
である
die. Canon was brought to the sudden realization by that creepy laughter. Beatrice's reason for being here was not just to take Kinza's life. The first twilight required 6 sacrifices. Kinzo alone wasn't nearly enough. And they had nonchalantly come to this place.
安心せよ
Don't worry,
そ
Canon.
なたらがここ
You
に訪
won't
れ
be
てた
selected
ら
as
生贄に
sacrifices
選ばれ
just
るので
because
は
you
ない
came here.
生贄に選ばれているからこそここに呼ばれているんじゃないか
It was because you were selected as sacrifices that you were called here.
なんだと
What? They instinctively figured it out immediately. 6 sacrifices were required for the first twilight. After Kinzo, how many would you need to add up to 6? In this mention, the number 5 instantly made them think of the number of servants here.
それが
Is that what you desire?
感謝せよ
Thank
家具
me,
どもよ
furniture.
そなたたちの
Your
苦難の
days of
日々
suffering have
have
tonight finally come to an end.
それを告げに訪
You
れた
should
我
thank
らに
me
感
as
謝
I
せよ
have come to tell you this.
かしこまりました
Certainly,
それをお望みで
if
した
that is what if that is your desire.
源氏様
Genji had agreed to the witch's heartless announcement in his usual manner, without raising an eyebrow.
親方様亡き後
After the master's death, Beatrice-sama is our master.
その求めに
Answering her demand is our final
我
duty.
シャノ
Canon,
今
Canon,
日までよく
you have done well serving until today.
その労苦も
That hard work is now over.
源氏はさすがで
As
す
I expected of you,
同
Genji.
じ家具とし
As
て
fellow furniture, I think honorably of you.
シャノ
Shannon,
異論はないか
do you have any objections?
はい
No.
ジョージ様から
I heard that George-sama gave you a ring.
それでもなお
Even so, you have no regrets.
はい
No.
家具の身に
That
過ぎた
blessing
幸福
was
でした
more than furniture deserves.
指輪を頂戴しただ
Just
けで
receiving the ring has
私の
already
思いは
fulfilled my
すでに達
feelings.
せられております
Shannon had not yet reached as high of a philosophical state of mind as Genji. They probably really were regrets left in her heart. She probably wanted to spend a little more warm time with the person of her thoughts, George. But she released herself from that. She took a single deep breath, and from that point on, the expression she wore was
そ
blank.
れでよい
Very good.
シャノンがそこ
I
まで
am
の
a
落
little
ち着きを得
surprised
る
that
と
you
は
have been able to calm
少し
yourself
驚きで
this
した
much, Shannon.
あなたも家具として
It seems that you
感
have
化したようです
also come to terms with things as furniture.
惚れた男と夜も共にできず
Won't you at least shed
少し
some
は悔し
bitter
涙を
tears for not
こぼさ
being
ぬ
able to spend the night with the man you love?
退屈な
What a
女
boring woman.
ベアトリーチェ様ごと
This
きに
feeling cannot be
この
understood
気
by
持
the
ちはわ
likes
か
of
りま
you,
せん
Beatrice-sama.
私たちの命を
If you
ご所望でしたら
if you
どう
desire
ぞ
our
お受け取り
lives,
ください
please accept them.
私たちは
We will
慎んで
solemnly carry
そ
out
のお
that
務めを
duty.
全うします
それ
Good.
でよくぞ
Well said.
ベアトリーチェ様
Just the type of person Beatrice-sama is bad with.
最近こやつめは
Recently, this one has become quite detached.
どうも前回
It seems that I tortured her too much last time.
それを言ったら
Speaking
バ
of
トだもん
which,
ね
didn't I do the same to Butler?
わらわはまだぬるいの
Am I still soft?
それとも
Or is my
追い詰め
style of
方が下手な
cornering
の
them
か
lacking?
いずれにせよ
In any case, she's just no fun. However, it seems that you will still entertain me, right?
カノ
カノ君
Compared to the two who had attained a philosophical state of mind, there was a painful anguish on Canon's face. Canon was still far too young to accept his demise without regrets, after being told of it by a suddenly appearing witch.
カノわらわは
I
退屈を
detest
何より
boredom more than
そして
anything,
お前を
and
除
it
く二人が
seems, and
素
it
直に
isn't
死を受け入れる
interesting
も
that
のだ
those two have obediently accepted their deaths.
だからそ
So
なた
I don't want you to
わらわの
betray
期
my
待を裏切らないで
expectations.
もらいたいものだ
僕を慰
Are
め
you
者にしよ
trying
う
to
とい
make
うのか
me your plaything? Canon realized that he was being provoked. However, no matter how much anger spurred him on, his opponent was a witch. He was just furniture. He had no chance of victory from the very beginning. But the witch was expecting that he would struggle in vain and ride around, and was looking forward to it. Just thinking about that was frustrating enough to get his blood boiling. It was disappointing the witch by refusing to resist like the other two, the only way he could strike back at her.
煉獄の七姉妹が長女ルシファ
Eldest of the seven sisters of purgatory,
ー
Lucifer,
いでよ
arise.
傲慢のルシファー
Lucifer the proud, right here.
カノ
Canon?
家具に魔女
It
と
would be
戦えと
too
いうの
cruel
も
to,
酷な話
to force furniture to fight a
そな
witch.
たがいくら怒
No
りに
matter how
駆ら
much
れようとも
anger spurs you
勝
on,
算のない戦い
you
では
could hardly hold
希望を持
hope in a battle you have no chance of
無
winning.
論
Of course, a battle without a chance of success would be boring for me as well.
ならば
So,
家具は
furniture
家具
against furniture.
家具同士で決着
Why
を
not
つけて
resolve
は
it
ど
with
う
a
か
battle between
そ
furniture?
れならば
That should be
家庭希
enough
望
to
も持て
allow
る
you
であろう
some hope for victory, right?
恐れながらベアトリー
We
チ
all
ェ様
do respect Beatrice sama.
私がそのような
Is it
出来
truly
損ないの
possible
家
that I
具
could
踊
yield
るよう
this
なこ
good
とが
for
ありましょう
nothing
か
furniture? That I could yield to this good for nothing furniture?
こんな可愛い子
As if this cute
私
kid
が
would
万
have
一
any
も負け
chance
る
in
ような
hell
こと
against
な
me.
ど
我が家具
Show me that you can defend my
煉獄の
furniture
七
of
国
the
を打ち破ってみせ
seven.
よ
Show me that you can defeat my furniture of the seven stakes of
見
purgatory.
事打ち破ってみ
If
せ
you
た
can
なら
manage to come out the admirable
そうだな。
victor, let's see.
13人の生贄
I
を
will
逃れる
let
こ
you
と
have
のでき
free
る5
choice
人
over the 5 people who
そなたに
will
自由に
escape
決めさせて
becoming
やろう。
one of the 13
そ
sacrifices.
なたの推薦する
I
5
will
人
unconditionally
わらわは無条
welcome the
件にて
5 people you recommend
黄金鏡に
into the
迎え
Golden
入れ
Land.
それならば
How
どう
about that? Canon understood that he was being provoked. However, the witch's conditions were very tempting. The evil ritual the witch and the rest were trying to carry out was, at some point, not something that Canon cared about in the slightest. On the contrary, it was much more important for him to survive, be invited to the Golden Land, and have his wish granted by Beatrice there.
そなたは家具は
You
嫌だと
cry
泣
that
い
you
た
haven't
な
that you've had enough of being furniture,
そな
right?
たの望み
I shall grant
叶
your
えてやろうぞ
desire.
枕を濡
I
らして
shall
まで
give
望
you
んだ
the
人
human
間の
body
体を
which
与
you
えてやろう
wanted
ぞ
so much that you cried yourself to sleep.
どうだ
What do you say?
そうすれば
Then you could be together with
ジェシカと
Jessica,
結ばれるぞ
right?
おおちょうどよい
Oh, that's just perfect.
黄金鏡へ招け
You
る
may
5
include
人
Jessica and
ジェシカとそなたを
yourself in the
推薦す
5
れ
you
ばよい
recommend for invitation to the Golden
自
Land.
分だけが幸せに
If
なること
you
に
have
抵
some
抗があるなら
hesitation
ば
towards making only yourself
さら
happy,
に
then you could add Shannon and her loved one, George, as
ジョージを
well.
加えればよい義理があるなら
If
ばさ
you're
らに
worried
源氏
about
も
duty,
加えれ
then
ば
you can
よい
also add Genji.
おお
Oh,
これで
that's
5人
5 people.
十分ではないか
Just enough
カノ
room.
こ
Canon.
れだけの
With this much of a
ご褒美があれ
reward,
ば そなたはわらわ
You
を
won't let me
退
get
屈させはし
bored,
ないよ
will
な
you?
どうせ戯れよ。
She's just playing with you.
耳を貸す必要は
There's
ない。
no need to listen to her.
僕は嫌だ
I'm sick of this.
姉さんはそれでいいの
Is this really what you want, Nesan? Beatrice couldn't hide her evil smile at those words.
僕は嫌だ
I'm sick of this.
幸せになりたい
I want to be
家具なん
happy.
てもう嫌だ
I've had enough of being furniture. I want to become human and have
普通の
normal
恋がしたい
love.
僕も姉さんの
I
よう
want
に
to know that the ocean is blue
海が
like
青いって
you.
ことを知りたいんだ
若いですね
Oh, young.
羨ましい
I'm jealous.
だから若者は
That's
好
why
き
I
だ
like the young ones.
源氏シャノンは下がれ
Genji, Shannon, stay
カノン
back.
ルシファーは前へ
Shannon, Lucifer, forward.
仰せのままに。
As you command.
気に入らないわ。
I don't like
ベア
it.
トリーチェ様は
You
無理
know you can't win against Beatrice
私
sama,
にだったら
but you
勝て
look
るか
down
もし
on
れ
me
ない
as
と
though
い
you
う
might
見
be
下
able
し
to
が
win against me.
最高に気に入
Like
ら
you
ないわ。
really don't like it. That was probably humiliating to Lucifer, but at the same time she was also happy that she was so lucky to have this lovely prey all to herself.
恋魔女の家具
Furniture of the
いつ
witch.
までも僕を見
Don't
くびること
think
が
that
で
you
き
can
ると思
look
うな
down on me forever.
さあさバトラー楽しい見せ物の時間であるぞ
Come now, Butler. It is time for another fun show.
くそまたおかしなことになりやがって
Damn, it's turning to something ridiculous
魔
again.
法バトルなんて
I can't
認
ever
めて
accept
たまるか
this,
よ
that this is a magic battle.
ほらほら
Look,
目を
look,
つぶら
don't
ずに
turn
ちゃ
your
んと見
eyes
ろ
away.
よ
Look at
ほ
it.
らほら
Look,
ほらほ
look,
ら
look, look.
魔法だよ
It's magic.
家具だよ
It's
そな
furniture.
たがど
No
んなに
matter how
わら
much
わ
you
や魔
try
法
to
の存
deny
在を否
me
定し
and
ようと
magic.
ほらほら
Look,
ほら
look.
ほらほらほらこうして目の前でブオンブオンカキンカキンやられちゃ台無しだよなほらほらほらほらもう思考なんて止めちまえよ魔法はあるんだってこれはファンタジーなんだって目を閉じるなよしっかり見ろよほらほらほらほらほら
All this one, ka-ching, ka-ching, right in front of your eyes. It was all for nothing, right? Look, 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 look. Stop thinking already. I told you magic exists. I told you this is fantasy. Don't close your eyes. Look closely. Look, 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 look.
畜生
Damn it.
畜生畜生畜生
Damn
魔
it.
女を認めない
Accept
魔法を
witches.
認めな
I
い
won't accept magic.
でも
But if
こ
it's
んなに
as
あからさまに
obvious
やら
as
れちまった
this, what the hell am I supposed to... what the hell am I meant to say?
クソクソクソクソ
Damn, damn, damn!
ほーら目を背けるなよしっかり見ろよ魔法はあるんだよファンタジーなんだよ推理ごっことかやめちまえよ
Come now, don't turn away. Look closely, alright? Magic exists, it's fantasy. Stop playing detective.
ってんだよ
I know all about it. The truth is that you're awful at thinking about things, right?
やめちまえや
Just
めちま
stop,
え
just stop!
ほらほらどうせファンタジーどうせファンタジー
Just stop, just stop. Look, look, obviously fantasy. Obviously fantasy.
うるせえうるせえうるせえ俺に話しかけるんじゃね
Shut up, shut up, shut up! Don't talk to me!
こいつ意地になっちゃって
This guy's gotten
私
obstinate.
になら勝てるなんて
Get
思
down
い
on
上
the
がりをし
ground
たこと
right now and
今すぐ
apologize
床
for
に
being
這い
so
つくばって
conceited
謝ってご
that
ら
you
んな
thought
さ
you
い
could at least beat
そうした
me.
ら特別に許してあげてもいいわよ生きながら生
I'll
皮を
spare
剥
you
がして
from having your skin ripped off while you're still alive
絶命するまで
and
全
being
身
lashed
を鞭
over
打って
all
のた
over
うち
your
回ら
body as
す
you
の
squirm
特
until
別
you
に許
die.
してあげてもいいわよ可愛い子なんだから
You're a cute
謝
kid,
っちゃい
so
なさいよ
apologize.
そうしたら
If you
あ
do,
なただけは
you can spend your last
最高
moments in
に素敵な気
blissful,
分の中で
wonderful ecstasy
優
as
し
I
く
gently,
優しく生かせ
gently
てあげ
finish
る
you off.
黙れ
Silent,
魔女の影
furniture of the
お
witch.
前と問
I
答す
have
る
no
つもりはない
intention of speaking with you.
私なん
You
か
say
眼
that you
中
think
にないと
nothing
いう
of
の
me,
ね
do you?
気に入らな
I
いわ
don't like it.
イフを
That
感じないその
disrespectful
目
gaze of yours.
本当に気に入ら
I
ないわ
really don't like it.
はあ
カノン君
あやつ
Isn't he stronger than he was against Satan?
だから人間は恐
That
ろ
is
しい
why
のです
humans are so
たま
frightening.
に魔女にまでな
Sometimes they even become witches and treat
悪魔を
demons as
羊扱いにしたりいたしますよ。
butlers.
わらわはどちらを応援す
So,
ればよい
which
と
should
い
I
うの
cheer on?
こいつ
Are you saying
互
that
角に渡り
this
合う
guy's
という
on
の
par with me?
僕を見くびる
Don't
な
look down on
お
me.
前にそのお
As
ごりがあ
long
る
as you have that pride, you can
僕
never
には
win
決し
against
て
me.
勝てない
私がこの
You
煉獄の
speak of
七姉妹
Lucifer,
が長女
the eldest of the
シファ
seven
を刺して
sisters of purgatory, and say that I can never win?
この
How conceited!
思い上がりが
What? Canon was desperately trying to stay alive, and he had the strong desire to become human. But Lucifer didn't feel anything stronger than a slight desire to play. So that reached its inevitable result. For the ability to yield such a result is the power of humans, the power of the heart.
これまでだ
This is as far as you
お
go.
前は僕に
You can never win
決
against
し
me.
て勝てない
A glowing red trail extended straight out of Canon's arm, pointing at Lucifer's throat, just beneath the tip of her chin.
何よこれ
What's
この
this?
私が
How
こん
could
な
I?
の
There must be some mistake! As she ground her teeth in irritation, she tried to deny the reality right before her eyes. But no matter how much she believed in her own superiority, it didn't change the fact right before her eyes.
お
Oh,
ーやるな
well
カノン
done,
見
Canon.
事だ
Wonderful. You haven't made me bored.
それに比べ
How pitiful
わらわ
my
の家具の
furniture is
な
in
んと情けない
comparison.
ことか
ルシファー
Lucifer,
お嬢様を退屈させてい
you
ま
are
すね
boring, milady.
やはりあなたには
Was his opponent really too much for you to handle?
失望するぞ
I'm disappointed, eldest of the seven states. That would have seemed like nothing more than a simple rebuke to an outsider, However, furniture serving the witch knew what kind of severe treatment was promised by that rebuke, and understood what what had been left unsaid. You good for nothing furniture! She howled, abandoning her last bit of pride. She made her body explode, exposing her true form. That form was of a demon stake, which bounced and reflected off the walls all over the room. How could you shame me so much? I'll kill you, I'll kill you, I'll kill you, I'll kill you! You slowpoke! Even though you can't even follow my movements anymore. I won't play around anymore. I'm seriously mad. I'll pierce your heart in one blow. I'll plow right through you and make a fountain of bright red blood reach the ceiling. Die! With a speed exceeding the limits that the human eye can follow, Lucifer went wild and flew at Canon's heart. Lucifer confirmed that the sweet taste she could feel was definitely Canon's blood, but she quickly noticed that she hadn't pierced Canon's heart. This is why humans are frightening. Would you like some black tea? I'm fine for now. This is so interesting, I don't need black tea. So arrogant. That's why you can't win against me. The floor was stained with dripping blood. It really was Canon's blood, but it wasn't flowing out of his chest. Canon had sacrificed his left hand to protect his heart. Lucifer was arrogant, even though she had been given enough time to realize that this was an opponent capable of cornering her. Even so, in her pride, she had believed that he was a worthless opponent. She had gotten careless. So, just as she had announced, she had aimed for his chest, trying to pierce his heart. Because she was arrogant, she couldn't even thought of aiming for somewhere other than the place she had announced. No, maybe she had thought about it a little. However, her pride would not allow her to aim for a different spot, because she was Lucifer the Proud. Canon, withstanding the pain, grasped Demon's stake, sticking deep into his left hand strongly with his right, and pulled it out. The sound of breaking bones and even more blood dripping down could be heard. Shannon instinctively averted her eyes. There was an air hole in the back of the pierced hand so big that you could clearly see through the other side. Canon's face was filled with agony, but in this very moment he had won, without a doubt. The demon stake he was gripping with his right hand turned back into Lucifer again. Canon was gripping exactly where her neck was. I win. Beatrice. Canon didn't hold back at all with the hand gripping Lucifer's throat. She had challenged him again after their fight had already been decided. Canon had no obligation to be considerate. But even so, Canon released the witch's furniture. Was it his naive humanism, his pity for another piece of furniture, or his final show of respect to the witch? In any case, when she was released, Lucifer fell face down onto the ground and made as to vomit, moaning over the pain of her throat. Spectacular, Canon. Your great efforts have gone some way to proving Kinzo's research is correct. Ronove was clapping his hands. to Canon, who had achieved a difficult victory, incurring a wound to his left hand couldn't be closed. That applause seemed nothing but shallow.
人の心はあらゆる可
All
能性を
possibilities
秘
are
め
hidden in the human heart, was
い
it?
やはやこれだから
My,
人
my,
間
this
は
is why
恐ろしい
humans are frightening.
あっぱれであるぞ
Well
カノン
done,
そな
Canon.
たは勝利
You are victorious.
見事だ
Spectacular.
大丈夫
Are you okay, Canon-kun? Shannon ran up to him and wrapped a handkerchief around his left hand, which was still spraying blood.
見事であるぞカ
That
ノン
was spectacular,
実
Canon.
に見事である
Truly
わらわ
spectacular.
も少しは
I
番
was
狂わ
also
せに期
slightly
待
hoping for an upset.
それを裏切らぬ
How
と
truly wonderful that
そなたは誠に
you
素晴らしき
how
カルで
truly
あるぞ
you are how truly wonderful you are as furniture not to let me down.
見直した
I think better of you now.
正直見
I
直した
honestly think better of you.
約束を忘れ
Better
ては
have
いな
not
いだろう
forgotten our
ベ
promise.
アトリーチェ
Beatrice.
も
Oh,
ちろん忘れては
of
おらぬ
course I have not
魔女
forgotten.
も悪魔も非
Witches
道
and
では
demons are admittedly unjust. However, we are much more noble than humans when it comes to our contracts.
わらわは保護
I
に
will
は
I will not go back on my
せそ
word.
なたが勝利した
I
ら
guarantee that if you won, I would give you the right to decide the 5 people who will escape becoming the 13 sacrifices.
ベアトリーチェ様
Beatrice-sama, I haven't yet lost. Beatrice twirled their pipe and heaven and earth turned over just for Lucifer. So, as a horrible natural result, she fell onto the ceiling. The ceiling doesn't seem to be that high on people standing on the floor. However, people who fall on it upside down and head first surely don't feel the same way.
お嬢様
Lady,
さすがにやりすぎ
isn't this a little too much?
それもそうである
That may be so.
許してやる
I
か
suppose I will forgive her. Beatrice spun her pipe again. When she did, the magic had been affecting Lucifer was released. So, as a horribly natural result, this time with extreme legitimacy, she fell back onto the floor.
ベアトリーチェ様お許しを
Forgive me.
何を
What
怯
are
え
you
とる
afraid
わ
of?
らはもは
I
や
have
許
already
した
forgiven you, haven't I?
さてカノン
So, Canon,
続けようでは
shall
な
we
いか
continue?
何をだ
Continue
ま
what?
さか
You aren't saying that you
彼
want
女
me
に
to
とど
finish
めを
her,
さ
are
せとでも
you?
言うつもりなのか
ああ、違う
no.
違うまだ終わっ
It
ちゃい
isn't
ないだろ
over
うが
yet.
何をだ
What
はぐら
isn't?
かすな
Stop dodging the question.
わらわは
I
確か
did
にそなた
promise
と
you,
約束した
didn't
ぞ
I?
わらわの
If you
影
could defeat
煉
my
獄の七杭を
furniture
打ち
of
破
the
った
seven
なら
stakes of purgatory,
どうだ
right?
さあさあおいでな
Come,
さい
arise,
煉
seven
獄の
stakes
七
of
杭
purgatory.
不甲斐なき
The
長女の
six
6
younger
人の
sisters
妹
of
た
the
ち
worthless elder sister. With shrill laughing voices, the air split, and gold sprayed everywhere as the remaining 6 of the 7 stakes of purgatory showed themselves. All of the 7 sisters of purgatory, only one of which Canon had been able to defeat by sacrificing his left arm, were gathered. By now, Canon regretted his thoughtlessness in accepting the witch's challenge. He had been foolish to assume that a game with a witch could be on an even footing. Lemon! One-sama, why are you crawling on the floor?
お前たち
People.
だからお姉様はダメな
See,
のよ
this is why One-sama's
少
useless.
女を偉そうに名
Even
乗る
though she acts like she's
浮気な
so
だけなのよ
great as the old sister, That's just on the outside. Yeah, seriously. Lucifer Onesama, your disgraceful behavior will damage others' opinions about all of us. Know your shame, you novice.
すごいすごい
Canon-kun, awesome, awesome. But don't get cocky, okay?
ルシファーお姉様
Lucifer Onesama just brags all the time. But she's no big deal compared to the rest of us sisters.
だからルシファー姉は
That's
何もし
why
な
I'm
くてい
always
いとい
saying
つも言って
Lucifer
いる
Nesan shouldn't do
お姉
anything.
様は威張っ
It's
てだけいれ
alright
ばい
if
い
he just brags all the time.
荒事はすべて
Because we
優
superior
秀
ones
な私たちで
always
片
have
付ける
to
のだから
clean up the fighting scenes.
お姉様
What are you gonna do,
私
Nesama?
たちはお姉様
We
のプライドを
respect
尊
your
重して
pride.
そのボロボロ
So
の体
we
で
were planning on letting you
再び
challenge him
挑むに期待
again
して
that beaten
手
up
出しをしない
body
つもりなん
without
だ
getting
け
in
れ
the
ど
way.
でも
But Canon-kun sure is strong,
今
right?
のお姉様じゃ
Right now,
もうどう
no
あがいても
matter how
勝ち
much
目
you
はないわよ
struggle, there's
ね
no way you can win, right?
お前たち
You people.
やれやれ
My,
いつも賑やか
you
な姉妹たちで
sisters
あ
are
るな
always so lively.
今は仲違いをしている場合
Is now really the time for discord?
そなたらは7人
Being a
揃ってこその
7-person unit is
煉獄
what
の
makes
七姉妹
you
であろ
the
う
seven sisters of
仲
purgatory.
良くして
Now, play
我らの
nice
仕
and
事を
execute the
遂行
task
せ
I
よ
gave you
迅速に
swiftly. Alright?
ルシファーお
Come
姉
on,
様
Lucifer 姉様。
私たち妹の力
If
に
you
借
want
り
to
たい
borrow the power of your little
言って
sisters,
よ
say it,
お
okay?
姉様の口から
We want to
助
hear
けを
you
求める
ask
言
for
葉
our
が聞き
help
たい
from your own mouth.
私は
Plan to mock me even more?
どうする気か愚かで
I, the foolish,
見
weak,
苦しくて
ugly, shameful
この長女のルシファ
eldest
ー
sister Lucifer beg my younger sisters to save me.
ね
Come
え聞かせ
on,
てよ
let's hear it.
それを聞かせてくれ
If
た
you
ら
let us
助け
hear
てあ
that,
げる
we'll save you.
それでいいわよね
That's the deal, right?
みん
Everyone?
お前たち
You bitches! The seven sisters of purgatory taunted their eldest sister, calling her worthless, verbally abusing her. Even Canon, who had been fighting her for his life until a second ago, couldn't bear to look straight at it.
私が
As if
その
I
ような
could
ことを
say
口にできるも
something
の
like
か
that.
早くせよ
Do it quickly.
どうせお前一人では
Obviously, we
拉致
won't get
が開かん。
anywhere with you alone.
早く7姉妹
Hurry
で
up
カ
and
ノンを
slay
撃て
Canon as the seven sisters.
そら
Oh,
どうし
what
ました
could
か
be?
ルシファー
Oh, what could be wrong,
お嬢
Lucifer?
様の命令で
It
す
is an order from Milady, you know.
ひどい
How cruel. Lucifer ground her teeth over and over, hurled curses at her sisters, and then, as she trembled all over, she answered her sister's request.
愚かでひ弱で見苦しくて情けない
I... Wait. Oh, shit. I, the foolish, weak, ugly, shameful,
情けないこの
shameful eldest sister Lucifer. Beg. She was finally unable to endure saying those degrading words, and the girl bearing the name of Pride broke down crying. However, the sixth younger sister kept giggling cold-heartedly.
ちょっと
Hey!
泣いてごまかさない
Don't try to trick us by crying. You haven't finished saying it.
もう十分だろう
That should be enough.
さあ姉妹た
Come,
ち
sisters,
我
let
らの
us
力を
display
見せて
our
やろう
power.
私は全部聞かな
I
きゃ満
won't be
足しないわ
satisfied
よ
until I hear the whole thing, you know.
ほらほらお姉様
Come on,
続けて
Onesama.
よ
Keep going.
もう十分よ。
That's enough.
さあ、
Come
こ
on,
の
this
屈辱
shame
は
has been
姉
brought
妹
upon
全員の
all of
屈
us
辱。
sisters.
生かして返しは
We
しないわ
won't
よ。
let them return alive.
さて
Alright, how should we play with this pitiful furniture?
素敵な提案
Any wonderful suggestions? Me!
ゼは
Bells things. The 7 of us should get along and split the canon up between us.
良い提案だな。
Good
それでなら、姉
That
妹
was
みんな
all
仲
of
良
the
し。
sisters. That way, all of the sisters can get along.
なら私頭部ね
Then I'll take the
手
head.
足はあんたらに
All
あ
of
げ
you
る
can
わ
have the limbs.
やだやだ
No, no.
私が頭
I get the head.
そんな約束意味があ
You
るわ
know
けない
there's
でしょ。
no way there'll be anything meaning to there'll be any meaning to promises like
早
that.
い者勝ちに決まってる
It's
わ。
obviously gonna be first one there wins.
どんな殺され方がいいか
Kan-kun, if you have a suggestion for how you'd like to be killed, just tell us, okay?
ララ姉妹で
We 7 sisters will kill you in an awesome way.
くそ
Damn.
ここまで恥をかか
You've
せたんだ
shamed
もの。
me so
焼
much.
き裂きでも足
Even
りない
slice you into 8 pieces won't be enough.
百裂きにしてくれ
I'll slice you into 100
行
pieces.
くよお前たち
Here we go, everyone. The 7 of them burst at once. They had no desire to play or boast. This time they would genuinely follow their master's order. Slay Canon swiftly. The 7 sisters jumped around the room faster than the eye could see, deciding how they would kill Canon. They tortured Canon with their cruel giggles, sometimes making a close pass at him. They kept scraping his arms, shoulders, and cheeks, carving red lines into his body. At that time, Shannon dashed up behind him, holding on to him as she blocked the way to his body at least a little. At the same time, a red cylinder wrapped around the two of them like a beam of light sent from heaven. The cylinder repelled the evil ones who tormented Canon. What? That's cheating.
関係ないでしょ
This has nothing to do with you.
とこれはあれよ
I know what this is.
私たちと一
She
緒に
must
遊び
want to
たい
play with us.
なら私がもら
Then
うわ
I'll take
い
her.
っただき
All mine.
ベアトリーチェ様
Beatrice
シ
sama.
ャノンを私た
May
ちの
we
獲物
have
にしてね
Shannon as our prey?
ああ、かま
I don't mind. Do as you like.
お前たちの悪
It
事
seems
に
Canon alone won't be
Canon
enough to
一人では足らなかろうしな。
satisfy your gluttony.
ありがたき幸せ
I'm so very grateful.
さあ
Come on.
シャシャリ出て
I'll
きた
make
ことを
you
後悔
regret
させ
coming
るよ
out uninvited.
どっちがどっちかわからな
I'll
い
turn you
く
to
らいの
scraps of
肉片
meat
に
so
して
shredded that you can't even tell who's
混ぜ
who.
て混ぜて
Mix you and mix you and mince you into hamburgers.
バカね
Idiot. Breaking that barrier comes first.
食い意地より先
Do
に
your
仕
job
事しなさ
before
い
you start worrying about food.
お姉さん
As a horribly natural first action, the 7 sisters began to destroy the barrier around that Shannon created. Shannon's barrier certainly wasn't extremely strong. It was enough power to impress even Beatrice. It was strong enough that frail furniture would turn to dust just by touching it, and it was firm like a tree with deep roots. But no matter how big a tree gets, it will eventually surrender to a saw or a hatchet. For the 7 sisters, chopping down Shannon's barrier while it was a pain was not impossible. This sound, like beetles jumping around, grew even more fierce and filled the room. They cut up and steadily eroded away the red barrier as though with a hatchet, A saw. No, a chainsaw by now.
愚かな。
How
君
foolish.
の結界で
You
は
must have known that your barrier can't fully protect you from these
な
girls.
ぜ
Why?
見過ごせないからです
Because I just can't let it happen. Because I just can't let it happen. Shannon spoke back resolutely as though covered the cannon, as she covered the cannon, who was already spent of all his energy and sprawled onto the floor.
しゃしゃりでなければ
If you hadn't
眠るような
barged in
死を与えて
uninvited,
やった
I would have given you a sleep like
な
death.
ぜわざわざ
Why
七姉
have you
妹の前に身を
deliberately
さらすの
exposed yourself to the Seven Sisters?
死は同じでは
All
ない
death is not equal, you know.
苛烈な死
You
は
realize
死
an
してなお
intense death
災難
tortures you
ぞ
even after you die.
どうぞ
Go
お好きな
ahead,
ように
do as you
あな
like.
たがしたい
Just
ことを
like
好
you
きに
do
す
as
る
you
ように
want. I have
私
done
の
as
した
I
いことを
wanted.
どうにもその
Somehow you
このところ
simply
面
lack
白みに欠ける
entertainment
な
value recently, you know.
恋というやつ
The most interesting part about love is during the time when it's uncertain whether or not you will achieve it.
達してしまった後
After
の女
receiving it, a woman is
さな
like
が
a
ら産卵
salmon
を終
who
えた
has
鮭の
finished
ごと
laying
し
its eggs.
そなたにはもう飽
I've
きた
already grown tired of you.
ありがとう
Thank
魔
you.
女から聞ける言
No
葉で
words I could hear from a witch would make me
最も嬉しい言葉で
happier.
す
ならせめ
Then
て
at
最
least
後
in
に
the end,
我を
show me a
思い
way
っきり
of
喜ば
dying
せ
that
る
will
死に
please
方を
me
してみせろよ
greatly.
七姉妹よ
Seven
聞こえた
sisters,
な
did you hear that?
シャノンの殺し
Show me
方
the limits of your
お前たち
brutality in
の
the
残
way
虐
you
の
killed
限りを見
Shannon.
せてみよ
Shannon.
Shannon,
申し訳ございません
my
や
apologies.
はり私には
In the end, I wasn't able to match up against match up to your greatness, Kenji-sama.
姉さんはバカ
She
だ
was an idiot. Nessa.
僕なんか放っておけば
If you just let me be, then you might not have met this horrible.
ううん
No,
いい
it's
の
alright.
ジョージ様に指
I
輪を
was
も
able
らって
to receive the ring from
女
George
と
Sama
して生き
and
られ
live
た
as a
あ
woman.
なたをかばって
I was able to protect you,
姉として生き
live
られ
as
た
a sister.
私のせいは
With this, my life is settled
こ
with
れ
no
で未
regrets.
練なく全うした
You're really pissing me off.
その達
Philosophic view is
本当に
really
嫌つく
entertaining.
ぜだから家具なんだよ
This is why you're furniture. You don't even smell like a human.
わらわを
Look
見
at
ろ
me.
よわらわこそ
I am
人間だろうが
human.
家具のく
Don't
せに
spout off philosophical stuff like you're more complete than I
達観したかのような
am.
ことを言うんじゃね
You furniture.
醜い
How
その
ugly.
未練が
Is that regret?
あなたの正体なの
Is that regret your true form?
え未練じゃね
It
え
is not
それが
regret.
生きる
Is it called? It is called living.
がもらったから
You
死ん
received
で
the
もいい
ring,
の
so
か
it's alright if you die? What? Oh, I can't understand it.
理解できねえ
Not a clue, not a hope. Goddamn, I'm astonished, goddamn shocked.
ダメだぜ
Not goddamn good at all.
お嬢様。
Me, lady, I must suggest that you're acting somewhat undignified.
うるさいわ家具
Shut
が
up, furniture.
シャノン
Shannon, do you think I'll let you
死なせ
die
てもらえる
easily?
と思うなよ舌を噛むなら
Now's the
今
time
の
to
うちだ
bite your tongue.
哀れね
How
もし
pitiful.
も私の目
If you
があ
can
なたの
see
その
yourself
姿に映って
reflected in my eyes,
そのが醜
then
さに
shudder at your own shudder at your own ugliness.
安心しろ
Don't
よ
worry,
てめえは
I'll crush you.
さらに
I'll
めちゃくちゃ
crush you,
ぐちゃぐ
mash
ちゃ
you,
に
mash
生きな
you
がら
up until you're even
して
uglier
やるから
while you're still alive. At that time, Genji softly entered the red barrier. Maybe that barrier didn't block those without ill intent. Then, Genji softly held Shannon from behind and covered their eyes with his right hand.
源氏様
Genji-sama, you have done enough now.
先に休みなさい。
You have done enough now. Go to sleep before me.
はい
Yes.
ありがとうございます
Thank you very much,
Genji-sama.
Genji-sama. After that, Genji softly pressed his left hand against the area around her collarbone. As he did, From the area where that left hand pressed, a crimson stain gently spread out. When Genji removed his hand, bright red flesh blood oozed out from there, and just the very first instant, it appeared to be a shape like a crimson rose. And when he removed the right hand that covered Shannon's eyes, there was a peaceful expression on her face, as though she was sleeping. And she fell softly, silently down and slept. Her soul had already been sent to a world where the malicious witch and her furniture could never reach her, no matter how evilly they tortured her. Beatrice and the seven sisters were shocked by this scene. Only Ronove had a mysterious expression along with his smile. Then Genji leaned over Kanon, who was crouching on the floor. You did well. You too should sleep now. Yes. Thank you very much, Genji-sama. Just as he had done with Shannon, after gently covering Kanon's eyes with his hand, Genji gently covered the area around Kanon's collarbone with his other hand. And when that was removed, with the lightness of a feather, there was a crimson rose shape. But that rose shape quickly turned into a stain of bright red blood pouring out. What is that? Not a boring person. The fun of a balloon of life is in poking it with a needle and making it forcefully explode. Spectacular, Genji. You truly are furniture. Thank you very much. Well then, Beatrice-sama, Ronove-sama, with this as my final task, allow me to rest. You took what I was playing with. All of that thrashing and smashing I wanted to do to them. I hope you're willing to take all of that instead. Beatrice faced him with an unsatisfied expression, but Ronove spoke quietly to Genji with a soothing smile. You have worked hard. You are my greatest servant. I shall bestow as a final gift to you a peaceful sleep worthy of all of the labors until now. Of all of your labors until now. What? Wait, what are you? When Ronove snapped his fingers, as if Genji was a puppet that had crumpled from his strings being cut, suddenly and yet gently, he fell, sprawled onto the floor into a sleep that witches couldn't call him back from. That was as filled with kindness as the sleep I had given to Shannon and Kanon. How was that, Ronove? What a boring anticlimax. Are you not a powerful great witch, milady? Something such as this is not enough. Something such as this is not enough to pay attention to. It is not like you to allow the blood to rush to your head because of a provocation from someone like Shannon. What was there that Beatrice didn't like? Was she still unable to remove the tone of Shannon's words? Ronove laughed lightly, as though lamenting the complexity of the human and female heart, and ordered the seven sisters to go. After all, there were still 2 sacrifices left for the first twilight. The seven sisters cavorted as they disappeared. Goda was doing the nighttime rounds. There had never been anything on Rokkenjima outside Yoshiromiya family, so checking that the doors and windows were all closed had no real purpose. However, ever since Natsui had scolded them saying that this was careless, the nighttime rounds had become part of the servants' daily routine. The reason that Natsui had ordered this was the occasional disturbances of the witch. Everyone who visited this island knew about the legend of Beatrice, the witch of the forest. This had become established as this island's characteristic ghost story. Because of that, it was only natural that some people would occasionally say that when they thought they were alone in the mansion, they had heard strange sounds or seen the shadow of a person. However, when that had created a little too big of a disturbance and reached Natsui's ears, she had made a fuss, thinking that some suspicious person might have been coming in and out. Apparently, it was said that she had roused all of the servants and had them checked throughout the mansion. Because all of this uproar over the witch had happened before God had come, he had only heard about it from the more senior servants. Ghost stories like that could be found in any workplace, even at the hotel Goda had once worked at, and at the restaurant there was never a shortage of those types of stories. So when he heard that the story on this island, he smiled bitterly, thinking, so they have that kind of thing here as well. He smiled bitterly, but he thought when in Rome, do as the Romans do, and had not slighted that. Goda went along with it, and on the outside, but in his heart, he thought it was a childish trick at first.
これは確かに不気味ですね。なるほど。過去の使用人たちがいろいろと騒ぎたくなる気持ちもわかるものです。
This certainly is eerie. I see, I understand why the servant got in an uproar over this in the past. He could understand that if someone doing the rounds on an eerie night like this saw a lace curtain waving in the breeze from a window which hadn't been closed, they might be tempted to believe that they have seen a ghost. So there's a curse if you make fun of the witch in the portrait. Huh. Seems like there were servants who got hurt really bad and quit too. I hate to be injured. I'm already this old. I doubt I'll ever be blessed with a workplace this hospitable again. Great witch of the portrait. I'm really gonna work here, so please. I'm really gonna work hard here, so please go easy on me. Goda prayed to the portrait, his hands together, as though he was at a Shinto shrine. At that time, he thought he heard a sound. The kitchen? Was that the sound of something metal falling onto the floor? Surely a mouse or a cockroach hadn't come out and knocked over some of the dishes. No, how could that be? It was routinely and thoroughly cleaned. Goda thought that in any case he had better check what the noise had been and entered the kitchen. He turned on the kitchen light, and when he did, he heard a strange sound. Clank, 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 clank. To a cook like Goda, that sound seemed like the lid on a pressure cooker or something that was shaking. Of course, it couldn't be in use when no one was in the kitchen. If someone had been using the gas, what a dangerous thing to do, to just walk away from. Just in case, Goda decided to inspect the area around the gas range. What's this? When he did, in the corner by the gas range, the pressure cooker really had been placed there, just as he had thought. But the flame wasn't on, and yet the lid was clanking. Was something fermenting and leaking gas? How could that be? Then, was there a mouse or something inside? How could there be? Ridiculous. In front of people, Goda acted as though he had a bold personality fitting for his build, but he had actually had an unexpectedly timid side to him. He was terrified to find out what might be inside, and he couldn't check it carelessly. In his cowardice, he grabbed a nearby wooden pestle, when, with a clunk, he tapped it a little strongly against the side of the pressure cooker. When he did, the clanking sound suddenly stopped. He should have been relieved now that he had stopped, but the fact that he had stopped when he had hit it was even more eerie and made him even more suspicious about what was inside. Strange phenomena do not exist in this world. No, sirree. Yes, there is no such thing as witches or magic. Things like that can't possibly exist. All phenomena can be explained with science. As though monsters and witches could exist. He repeated that many times, trying to build up his own confidence. It was quite comical how he looked completely different from what he was saying. Who would believe in a witch? Who would believe in magic or curses? Come on, show me what you really are. Take that! He removed the lid of the pressure cooker, and lying exposed there was the sparkling clean silver bottom of the pot. There was absolutely nothing frightening like he had imagined. Well, of course. There is no way there could have been anything inside. By now, Goda realized that he had been a coward. So while he still had some doubts about what had caused the lid to make that sound, he explained it away abstractly as some quirk of positioning or something, and decided not to worry about it too much. Then he took the lid that he had grabbed and softly set it back down where he had been. It's alright, there won't be a sound, obviously. As if witches or magic could exist. Clank. Clank, 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 clank. Clank, 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 clank. Clank, 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 clank. All of the pots and utensils in the kitchen started clanking at once, and it grew stronger still until finally it became so strong that the lid to one of the pots fell off, and from inside the pot a slender white arm slowly stretched out. The lid fell off another pot, and another hand slowly stretched out, and another and another. Witches can't be real. I'll never believe it. When the numbers of arms grew to 7, a loud, shrill laughter split the air. Oh, what a letdown! It's a real letdown that the person who can make such delicious food is such a lightweight. If you don't need him, I'll take him. It's all mine. Wait, I said no. I'm gonna take him. Come on, let's search. There's only one more. That old hag. Where is she? Not the mansion? Maybe the guest house. You snooze, you lose, right? You snooze, you lose, right? Come on, search, search. Find her. Find her. Don't get noticed by the relatives in the dining hall. Don't get noticed by the kids in the guest house. Search in silence, kill in silence. After all, it's still just the first twilight. She isn't in the guest house, but she wasn't in the mansion either. Hey, I found her. She's in the rose garden. Why is she standing around there without an umbrella? She'd given herself up. Oh mine. You slowpokes can just sit there and watch. I told you, no, this one's mine. Come on, if we take any longer, we'll be scolded by Beatrice-sama. Let's take care of it all at once. Come on, found her, surround her. Come on, let's get along and do it all at once, okay? Die! What's this?
やんちゃなお嬢さんたちだこと。あの子のお友達かしら。
What naughty girls. Could you be friends of that child?
何こいつ。ババアのくせ
What
に。
is with this old hag?
何かの間違いよ。もう一度。
There's got to be some mistake. One more time. Why can she defend against us? Move aside. One more time.
何度やっても無駄だ。
No matter how often you try, it's useless.
この個人。
This person is good.
私はあの子を待って
I
いる
am
のです。
waiting for that
どう
child.
か呼んできては
Would you
く
mind
れませ
calling
んか
for her?
そのような
You think we'd be
絶望を
apprenticed
私た
to
ち
you
が
like
すると
that?
思う？その必要はない。
There is no need.
ベアトリーチェ様。
私が権限する
It
こと
was
でございます
sufficient for even myself to
必
manifest.
ずや
I was sure that you would awaken.
ロノウェイ。
Oh, run
久しぶ
away.
りですね。
It has been a long time.
ええ
Yes, it is
本当に久しぶり
truly,
で
it
す。
truly has been a long time.
こいつロノウェ様を呼びつける。
This woman, she didn't use Sama for his name.
そして
And
あなたもお久
it
しぶ
has
りです
been a
ね。
long time for us
ベ
also.
アトリーチェ。
Beatrice.
こいつ
She's not even using Sama for Beatrice-sama.
よい。そのお方をどなたと心得るか。ベアトリーチェとは、そもそもそのお方の名。わらわはそれを受け継いだに過ぎぬ。
Enough. Do you know who this person is? Beatrice was originally this person's name. I merely inherited that name from
そ
her.
のお方こそ。
This person
わらわの師
is
匠。
my master,
先代ベ
the
アトリーチェ。
predecessor Lady Beatrice.
先代ベアトリーチェ教。
Predecessor Lady Beatrice. Gold butterflies appeared in ones and twos from the garden of roses and began to gather around Kumasawa. And after becoming a golden radiance and enveloping her, they burst and disappeared, and Kumasawa's form was no longer there. Instead, there was another golden witch, the one who had in the past explained to Beatrice the path of the endless witch, the only person Beatrice had called master in her entire life. Her hair was long, beautiful and vividly youthful, and her figure in that elegant dress was unrecognizable as an old lady. No, this looked like a completely different person than Kumasawa.
これはお師匠様。再びお会いできる日が訪れるとは夢にも思いませんでした。
Master, I never even dreamed the day that would come that we would meet. Well, Master, I never even dreamed the day would come that we would meet each other again.
ええ、私もですよ。
Me too.
よもやま。
Certainly, I never even dreamed that my sleep would be disturbed.
全く厄介な
Such
と
a
ころでお目
troublesome
覚めになられ
time.
る。
Such a troublesome time for you to
いつ
awaken.
もの通りお
If
休
you
みであられた
remained
なら
sleeping as usual, the
第
first
一の晩は
twilight could be finished
何も
without
手こ
much
ずることなく
trouble.
終えられるのに。いや、
Or should I
むしろ歓
welcome
迎すべ
you?
きですかな。少々退屈し
I
ており
was
ました
just a
ところ
little bored.
相変わらず
Just as usual, it seems you are toying with sinless people in a vulgar game.
無限の魔女の力
I
は
believe I have
決して人に
I
迷
taught
惑を
you
かける
many
ことに
times
使
that
っ
the
てはな
power
ら
of
ない
the
と
endless witch
何度も教え
must
たはず
not
で
be
すよ。
used to cause people trouble.
そう言うなよ、お師匠様。退屈は私たちの天敵じゃありませんか。それから逃れるための
Don't say that, Master. Isn't boredom our natural enemy? This is just a little spice to escape from that. The more the corrosion advances, the stronger my power becomes, and the easier it becomes to call my minions. But who would have thought that it would release the seal on you, Master, at the same time?
それを予見していた
It
からこ
was
そ
because I predicted
私
that
はこうして
that I
あ
slept
なたのす
very
ぐ近
close
くで
to
眠り
you
につい
like
たのです
this.
よ。願わくば
As I prayed in my
二度と起こ
sleep
され
that
ぬ
I
ことを
would
夢
not
見
be
ながら
woken again.
こうしてあなたと
Being
再会してしま
united
った
with
の
you
は
like
私にと
this
っては
is a
とて
very
も
sad
悲し
thing
いこ
for
とで
me.
す。相変わら
You're cunning as
ず
always,
お師匠様
Master.
食えないな。炉の上
Ronove,
家具の子たちを下げなさい。
have the furniture children step
家
back.
具は主に仕えるだけで
Furniture
す。
merely serve its
す
master.
べての罪
The
が
master
主に
is
背負います。
responsible for all of her crimes.
かしこまりました。
Certainly,
マダムベア
Madame Beatrice.
そんなはもう
I
その子
have,
に
I
譲り
have
ます。
already surrendered that name to this child.
下がりなさい。
Come on, step back.
家具の娘たち。
Furniture girls.
私は一度
For
聞かぬ
those
と
who
して
do
も
not listen
二
the
度言い
first
ます。
time, I say it the
し
second.
かし、三度目は
However,
口にしません。
I do not speak it a third.
下がりなさい。煉獄の七姉妹。巻き添いになれば塵と化しますよ。
Step back, seven sisters of purgatory. If you get involved, you'll be turned to dust.
下がれ、みんな。
Back, everyone. Ronov and the seven sisters of purgatory retreated. After that, there was the Beatrice whose bold expression didn't falter, and the master Beatrice who had given up that name and wore a composed smile.
さーて、お師匠様。久しぶりの再会にはどんなお茶のご用意が
Well
いいのか。
then, master, what tea shall I prepare for our long-awaited reunion?
そうですね。
Let's
ほうき
see.
星の訪れ
This
よりも久しい
reunion
再
was
会です
longer in coming than the visit of a
も
comet.
てなしてもらいましょう。
I will accept your hospitality.
粗相があるような
If
ら
there
ば
appear to be any issues, then my name and the title of Endless
返して
Witch,
もらいます
I
よ。
will have them returned. Understand?
無限の魔女にも免許更新制度があったとはな。
So there's even a license renewal policy for the title of Endless Witch?
仰せのままに
As you say, Master.
あなたの弟子
See
が
how
どれほど立派
splendid
に
your
な
disciple has become,
そして
and
とっく
see
の
how
昔に
far
ど
she
れ
has
ほどあなたを
surpassed
凌
what
駕
you
したか
were long
とくと
ago.
ご覧に入れましょう。
It looked like sparks exploded in the air between the two Beatrices. Just by glaring at each other, they purged all spirits from that space. As they watched, the seven sisters shivered, because if they had retreated just 3 steps less than they had, they would have already been turned to dust by now. So, come, Beatrice. Surrendering my name to you is the only regret I have in my life. I will now collect that error. I will now correct that error with my own hands.
そりゃあ違うぜ、お師匠様。わらわのただ一度の過ちは、この程度の力を学ぶのに、あんたに弟子入りしちまったことだぜ。
That's wrong, master. My only error was becoming your disciple to learn this trifling level of power. Got that? You call this magic? You call this being an endless witch? The power to notice that all it was. And you made such a big deal of it. Your time is long past, master. I don't have a clue what's going on anymore. What in the world is happening right in front of my eyes? Oh, poor thing. It seems my disciple is causing you trouble. I apologize. You, who are you? Why did Kumasawa-bachan turn into an attractive lady like this? I mean, who are you? I don't get it. What kind of special effects are these? My head feels like it's gonna explode. I am the witch master of that child. My old name was Beatrice. When she succeeded me, I had given her that name, so I do not have a name. You already said that your disciple's being a real pain to me. Please, take responsibility and do something. No, wait. I don't believe in stuff like this. As if witches and magic are real. I won't accept this messed up battle. Damn it to hell. What am I supposed to believe? Just like you, hospitality with a very quick temper. I'd expect nothing less from you, master. It looks like this level of magic is so insignificant to you that you can't even be bothered to open your eyes. Looks like it'll be impossible unless I'm prepared to wreck the whole island, right? Come, arise, shoulder war towers. In response to Beatrice's summons, a terrific earth tremor split the rose garden, and on either side of her shoulders 2 massive war towers sprouted and stabbed into the heavens. They stretched 100 merutes tall, and each one had over 360 ports. Merute, this word is probably related to a fictional unit of length from Nausicaa, of the Valley of the Wind, which seems to be about 1 meter tall. They were war towers of the gods' army corps, which had not allowed the heroes of antiquity to invade their precincts, even as they banded together. As Beatrice elegantly floated in the gap between the massive two-headed towers, she looked down on her master, sneering with absolute superiority. With the two massive towers lined up behind her shoulders, the witch looked very small, like a butterfly dancing between large trees.
蝶に化ければ買わせるとか思うなよ。双子島の弾幕密度じゃあんた虫ピンの昆虫標本どころかめった刺しの針刺し人形だぜ。
Don't think you can dodge it by turning into butterflies, alright? The density of the Twin Towers barrage would just make you a pinned bug collection. It'd make you a madly stabbed pincushion. Get it? The tower's more than 720 ports opened and godly soldiers readied their multi-shot ballistas. Does that conclude your turn? Those are your last words? Open fire! Ballista shots numbering easily over 1,000 were all fired at once, drawing a beautiful geometric curtain of death. The boorish sound performed by those bowstrings was probably deeper than the sound of death swinging in scythe. Come, arise, fallen tower. Split the single language and make known the sin. Make known. The sky was stained with an incandescent red, and from between the clouds a blazing massive tower fell upside down. The massive falling tower and its rubble swallowed 1,000 of ballista shots, so that none of them could approach the body of the witch who had summoned it. Yes, none can approach the mysteries of heaven. That was the truth of the fallen tower. As I would expect from you, master. If you do something, you always do it big. My turn is not over. Come, arise, sons of Vivaldi. Bestow upon me a worthy spear. As the massive crimson tower that had fallen made a mighty gold-colored explosion, from the inside of those flames a spear showed itself, of such massive proportion that you would have to look up to see it all, much like a tower. It was large for even a giant's hand. It was a divinely beautiful spear of the gods, so massive that it gave the illusion that the tower which had fallen had turned into a spear of the same size, a spear of certain victory that no one could escape. It looks like your twin towers are useless. How foolish that you blocked off your means of escape on both sides. You can defend against even a single spear. When she snapped her fingers in command, the massive tower-like spear shot at Beatrice like a lightning bolt. As the Golden Witch danced in the gap between the towers like a butterfly, it sliced straight through the air like a flash of lightning, aiming right for the very middle of the absolute center of her heart with the most ultimate and extreme precision. So, you use Gungnir in a place like this? You really are incredible, master! Explode, useless towers! Arise, giant soldier battle line.
その盾と胸
Fully block that divine spear with your shields and chests. The war towers exploded in gold. They became several billion gold butterflies. Those butterflies took the shape of 7 massive armored soldiers, each stretched to a full 50 merute into the sky, and they lined up in front of Beatrice, protecting their master and holding massive shields which towered like windmills. Their massive size was evocative of a mountain range. The witch hiding behind them was like a small moon hiding behind the mountains. Once in the past, when the massive shields these giants held had been readied by the whole giant's regiment, they had protected King Wilhelm's castle not only from arrows, but from the wind and the rain, and they had faced upwards and held their shields to the heavens. Not a single raindrop had gotten through. Foolish. How pitiful is the witch who had forgotten her respect for the divine. Did you think that giants could defend against a spear of the gods? Indeed. No matter how much human metal you're armed with, you cannot block a spear of the gods. A wonderful epaulette. Non conosco questa parola. Epaulette made by Madame. No way! Beatrice-sama! Of course I haven't forgotten, Master. Come, Arai, Hephaestus and his disciples. Bestow upon me a worthy shield. A golden whirlwind arose at the feet of the giant soldiers. It was a group of countless butterflies. They attached themselves to the massive shields like a gold leaf, sparkling like they were a gold mirror. That was the absolute defensive wall that the king of the gods gave to the goddess. The Aegis shield. When the holy spear, which left a dignified trail behind it like a comet, crashed into the mountain range of the gold shields, there was a terrible thunderous roar. It was the creaking of the pillars that held up the heavens. The divine spear spun around and around, sent flying in the direction the sun sets. Impossible. She defended against the divine spear. No, that is not correct. The holy spear avoided the impact. It is the law of the gods that an absolute spear and an absolute shield must not fight each other. Although in the end it means the same thing as defending against it. Surely fighting appears to be the only area in which your skills have improved. Or rather, it seems that you are still as bad as ever at this kind of game, Master. It is my turn to strike back. I shall follow the code and counter a spear with a spear. The giant soldier battle line, which had fully blocked the divine spears, released their holy gold shields. The shields fell to the earth, making the ground shake. And then another gold whirlwind arose, and the 7 gold shields changed their form into 7 massive spears of lightning lying on the ground. In unison, each of the giants lifted a leg high and fairly stomped at the tips of the handles. As the earth shook with thunderous sound, the 7 lightning spears spun beautifully and flew up to the giant soldiers' heads. They covered everywhere in a spray of gold as they began to fall before the giants. Each of the giants squared off, and with the force of their whole body, they kicked and smashed them to pieces. Those broken pieces numbered exactly 30 each and became lightning spears of exactly the same size as the original, which made 210 for all 7 of them, and all of those burst at once, each splitting into 30 tons, so there were 6,300. They became a thundercloud barrage, throwing out a beautiful geometric pattern, and then each of those changed into 3 bolts of lightning, so that 18,900 thunderbolts shot at the predecessor Beatrice. It's over! Beatrice-sama! I would have expected nothing less from Madame. Certainly, a bundle of almost 20,000 thunderbolts should have reduced the master's body to dust, but there was no impact. Beatrice knew immediately that she had been fooled. At that moment, from the direction the sun was supposed to set, she felt an impossible ray of sunlight. A brilliant ray of light shone on her profile. It was the figure of the master holding aloft the spear of the gods that had supposedly been repelled a short while ago. She bore a brilliant radiance like the sun on her back and made it shone on the incarnation of darkness. Beatrice, watching from there, was trapped like a mouse in a cage, cornered in a dead end formed by the giant soldier battle line. By now, the predecessor Beatrice had seized a position directly alongside the giant soldier battle line. Now we are done playing, Beatrice. Have I exposed my flank? Her bold expression hadn't faltered once before now, but now it twisted for the first time. And faster than Beatrice could click her tongue, the predecessor Beatrice released the holy spear. In midair, it sprung up into the air once and changed its form once again. Come, Arai, Dvergar brothers. Bestow upon me the giant smashing iron hammer of heaven. Giant soldiers, protect me! What are you doing, you slowpokes? By now, it was no longer a spear, but the whirlwind of a massive hammer that raised a sound like a windstorm as it flew through the air. It was the legendary hammer that had shaken the king of the frost giants. So the giant soldiers couldn't escape from that fear. So no matter how much their master ordered them, they couldn't block the path of that hammer. Back rank mate. Rest in peace. Damn it! Before the whirlwind of this massive chunk of metal, Beatrice was nothing more than a mere speck. The instant the whirlwind started to suck Beatrice in, Beatrice's form turned into a massive war tower. The iron hammer smashed the war tower, scattered tremendous amounts of rubble, but it did not reach she who had escaped behind it. Furthermore, when the smoke started to settle, the war tower had stuck in the massive iron hammer without crumbling and blocked the way. Even the giant smashing iron hammer couldn't break through the final tower protecting the witch. However, this war tower was in fact the witch's last trump card. It was a war tower for dodging that could only save her from danger once. But this tower was impregnable. No weapon could break through it. Just then, The moon disappeared. As Beatrice, in the shadows of the giant soldier battle line and the war towers, she looked up to the sky. When she did, inside the moon was a figure of a massive horde ridden by the god of war and death. The predecessor Beatrice rode the horse with him. His cloak had blocked the moon and swallowed it in an eerie shadow, and the spear of the god was in his hands once more. It was, in other words, a godly knight who had jumped over the rampart formed by the giant soldiers and the war towers, attacking them from the heavens. You got me. Smothered mate. It was fun, Beatrice. The struggle to the death between the two witches with the same name was resolved. The spear that had been launched from the heavens pierced the ground. The giant soldier battle line and the war tower split into countless gold butterflies, shrouding the area in a golden storm. Then the sound of thunder and the sound of the falling rain and wind. Suddenly, that place was the empty rose garden once more. The butler and the rest were watching the two witches confronting each other, but only Beatrice was different. She had been pierced straight through by the spear from the base of her neck to and her right shoulder to her left buttock, unable to even reach the ground with her feet, horribly exposed like a pitiful pinned butterflies tormented by the wind and rain.
Beatrice-sama.
Saすが
Truly, she is a fearsome person.
これで決着
It
で
is
す
decided,
Beatrice.
Beatrice. Beatrice wore a bitter smile of false courage, but a strand of blood dangled from her mouth, making her look even more
無限の
pitiful.
魔女の称号と
The
力
title and power of the Endless
そし
Witch,
て
you will
ベアトリーチェ
now
の名を
return them
今
to
こ
me,
そ返してもらい
along
ま
with
し
the
ょう
name
無
Beatrice.
限の魔女を
You
語
are
るに
too
は
immature
お前の
to
未
be
熟
called
が
the
過ぎる
Endless Witch.
やめて許しておくれよお嬢様ちょっとふざけただけじゃねえか
Stop. Forgive me, Master. I was just fooling around, okay?
あなたから我が
I
名を
will
奪い
take my name back from you.
元の姿に
I
戻し
will
てあげましょう
return you to your original
次の
form.
力を手放し
Relinquish this power which is beyond you and live a life suitable for yourself.
さあさ
Come,
あ思い出してごらん
try
な
to
さい
remember.
あなたがどんな
What
姿を
form
してい
did
た
you
のか
have? The predecessor Beatrice began to recite the words of power. When she did, small gold butterflies gathered around and skewered Beatrice and began to swarm about her. Like butterflies sucking the nectar out of flowers, they began to suck the magical power out of Beatrice, and it seems that it caused her intense pain. A cry of agony escaped from Beatrice's mouth. She no longer had any powers to resist.
さあさあ目を閉じてごらんなさい
Come, try closing your
思い
eyes.
出してごらんなさ
Try
い
to remember.
あなたがどんな
What
姿をし
form
ていたの
did you have?
さあ
Come,
ベアトリーチェ、
Beatrice.
あなたも私と一緒
Repeat
に
it
復
with
唱
me.
なさい。一緒にお歌を
Let
歌い
us
ましょう。
chant together.
そうすれば
Then
す
it
ぐに
will
終
be
わります
over in no time.
あなたの苦痛が
Let us end
少しで
your
も早
pain
く
as
終わります
fast as possible.
そうだな。
Yeah, alright.
お師匠様と一緒
How
に
long
歌
has
う
it
歌
been
どれく
since
ら
I
いぶりかな。
chanted with you, Master?
さあ
Now,
一緒に
together,
さあさあ
come
思い出して
try
ご
to
らんなさい。
remember
あなたがどん
what
な姿をしてい
form
た
did you
のか。
have.
さあさ
Come,
あ思い出してごらんなさい。
try to remember
あなたがどんな
what
姿を
form
し
did
てい
you
たのか。
have. When the two of them began to recite the same chant, more and more gold butterflies danced around, swarming around Beatrice.
大丈夫ですよ。
It's all
お嬢
right,
様
milady.
あなたは私の
You
弟
will
子であ
lose
る
the
ことを
fact that
失い
you
ま
are
す。
my disciple,
私の使
but
え
that
る
will
お
not
嬢
change
様
the
である
fact
ことに
that you are
変わ
the
りは
lady
あり
I
ません。
serve.
そうしたらまた
After
一緒
that,
に
I shall
ご
read a
本を
book
読ん
for
で
you
差し上げ
again.
ましょう。リンゴのパイ
I
を
shall
焼いて
bake
差し
you
上げま
apple
しょう。
pies again,
昔のように。
just like it was long ago.
さあさ
Come,
あ思い出してごらんな
try
さ
to
い。
remember.
あ
Yes,
あ思い出してごらんなさい。
try to remember.
そろそろ
Are
思
you
い出せてきた
finally
かな。
starting to remember?
なあ
Well,
お師匠様
Master,
あんたの後
did
ろ
you
にあるそう
remember
思い出したかな。
that thing behind you?
何ですか？
What is it?
これは
Oh, this is. When the predecessor Beatrice looked behind her, there was a creepy hedgehog crouching there. No, it was herself. There was another predecessor Beatrice, whose whole body was packed with ballista shots, lying there like a pincushion doll.
さあさあ
Come,
思い出
try
して
to
ごらんなさい。
remember.
あなたが
What
どんな
form
姿
did you have?
違う
Hmm,
か。
no, I suppose that's wrong.
さあさあ
Come,
思い出して
try
ご
to
らんなさい。
remember.
あなたがどうやって
How
殺
were
され
you
た
killed?
のか。
The predecessor Beatrice was shocked. Instantly, her form began to grow faint.
これはいつの
This-
何
When did you?
最初に読ん
In
だ
the
のは
beginning,
双剣
I
の塔
did
では
not
ない。
summon shoulder
四
towers.
つ子の塔だった
They
の
were quadruplet
お
towers.
師匠様の左右
Master,
遥か
you
に潜んだ
nonchalantly
隠し塔が
stepped
描く
across the seventh rank rope boundary of death created by the two hidden
お師
towers,
匠様は
which
ど
were
このことを
lurking in the
踏み越えてきて
distance
く
on
れた。
either side of you.
チェックの発生
It
も
was bad
遅れてしまった
manners
こと
to
だ
say
けは
check
ない
so late.
率直に謝
Let
ろ
me
う。
openly apologize. That battle had been decided at the very beginning. It had been over since the time the predecessor had leaned forward, readying her holy spear to attack Beatrice, who had been wedged between the shoulder towers. The hidden towers lurking on either side had bathed her in a windstorm of ballista shots from 720 ports on both sides, pinning and killing her. However, Beatrice hadn't wanted it to be resolved with that. She had wanted to make her master take her next move and had continued acting as though the game was still on. She had immediately revived her with the endless power and had made her continue the game as though nothing had happened. Then the predecessor slowly remembered that she had already been killed and began to completely erase her form. When she did, the spear which had pierced Beatrice also erased itself. Beatrice finally fell and landed on her feet. There wasn't even a trace of a scar.
楽しかったぞ。
It was fun,
お師匠様。
Master.
また遊びたくなったら
If you want to play again, I'll revive you at any time.
それで適当に
And once we have had some fun, I'll make you remember that you were a corpse again. Okay. I'm fooling you, Bane. What you taught me, you know? Didn't you say to always put a toy back in its box when you're done playing with it? Was it an easy victory? You fool, it was a difficult victory. If I hadn't tricked her with the quadruplet tower, I would have been the one to die. As I would expect from my master. But now I may feel proud. Now I have completely surpassed my master. Ronove, make master's remains a little better. I haven't lost my respect for her that much. Certainly. Tonight's first twilight became a little too riotous. It will require some cleaning up. It shall be handled immediately. Goats, it is time to clean up. When Ronove snapped his fingers, blazing, sparking eyes began to blink open in the shadows and darkness, becoming goat-headed attendants which appeared one after another slowly out of the black. One by one they lined up behind Ronove's back, wordlessly standing at attention. What shall be done about the 6 bodies this time? Another locked room format? I'm not in the mood to think now. I will leave it to you. An extraordinary locked room to torment Butler, if you would. Certainly. It shall be extraordinary.